Hey Buckeye Nation, I'm Brendan Gulick for Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated, and welcome to NCAA21, the virtual 2020 season for the Ohio State Buckeyes. It's obviously been kind of a frustrating summer for college football news, right? Not exactly sure when the Buckeyes and the rest of the Big Ten are going to get out on the field, so we decided to see if Ohio State might be able to win a virtual national championship instead of just the real-life national championship that they're chasing. A couple things you should know about our simulation. We're using the most recent version of the EA Sports college football video game, and we're playing 5-minute quarters, so the stats might not be perfectly reflective, but hopefully pretty close for what you'd expect in real life. And on top of that, we decided to use the revised schedule that the Big Ten put out. That was never used because 6 days later the season was canceled, so hopefully that's a fun twist for it as well. So without further delay, let's get out to Memorial Stadium where the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Fighting Illini are ready to kick things off in week one out in Champaign. Of course, this is a big one for Justin Fields. We're hoping that perhaps he could come up with maybe a Heisman campaign here in 2020. A good first drive, Jalen Harris on this 23-yard reception. That was a good start. And on the opening drive of the season, Harris in the back of the end zone. The Buckeyes take a 7-0 lead. Certainly wasn't exactly how they drew it up. They took their time a little bit coming up the field, had a couple of stumbles along the way, but the Buckeyes with a pretty impressive opening drive. At the end of the day, they found a way to score. Meanwhile, they dominated the first quarter of this game. And after Illinois went 3 and out, there's a 21-yard pass and catch to Trey Sermon. The Buckeye drive would stall there, and it turned into a Blake Haubeil field goal. Let's move now to the late second quarter. The Buckeyes lead 10-0, and we get some pretty impressive play today from Brandon Peters, the transfer from Michigan, who, of course, last year played at Illinois as well. After that scramble, he laces one toward the end zone, and it gets broken up. Would have been a big touchdown for Illinois to try to get rolling early in the game, but he couldn't connect. So with just under 20 seconds left in the first half, Fighting Illini connect on a field goal, and they're able to bring it to at least a 10-3 game right before halftime. Frankly, Ohio State in the first half was pretty impressive in our virtual game. I thought they did a lot of good things. They dominated the offensive side of the ball. You can see the time of possession was certainly significantly in their favor, but there were times where Illinois had maybe a little bit too easy of a road, and it certainly got that way in the second half. Check out Illinois' opening drive to start the second half. Peters getting it rolling with his feet. You see it's 3rd down and 6. Unfortunately, that's going to become a common theme. Illinois creamed the Buckeyes on 3rd downs. This might have been their biggest play of the entire game. 33 yards and then 22 yards back-to-back passes completed to Josh Imatorbhebhe, and it put Illinois inside the red zone for the first time all game. And wouldn't you know it, Mike Epstein from just 6 yards out ties the game up. The Buckeyes and Illinois, about midway through our virtual third quarter, tied at 10 apiece. Good game for Epstein. He would end up becoming a pretty important factor for the Fighting Illini. The Buckeyes went back to work, and things did not get any better. Trey Sermon, who had a good game overall, could not get rolling there. A couple of bad draw plays for him on that series. The Buckeyes were forced to go 3 and out and punt the football. Illinois gets it back, and they are absolutely ready to work, except for Brandon Peters can't get away from Tyreek Smith. Really impressive game for Smith and for Zach Harrison. Obviously, big shoes to fill for them this year. That was perhaps Smith's best play of the game. Unfortunately, 2 plays later, Epstein, able to get over the middle of the field, sneaks behind the back of the defense, and with this ridiculous diving catch, Illinois, late in the third quarter, takes the lead on number 2 nationally ranked Ohio State. Officially upset watch at Memorial Stadium. One more time, check out this great pass from Peters to Epstein. He was under a little bit of pressure, but Epstein makes the diving catch. So the Buckeyes are in some trouble here. Late third quarter, take a guess. DeMario McCall comes in the game after Trey Sermon has had most of the touches. And on the final play of the third, McCall goes all the way down the right sideline. This is one of the critical turning points of the game for Ohio State. McCall with just barely not enough to get into the end zone, but he would do so on the first play of the fourth quarter and tie things up at 17 apiece, his first carry of the season, and it turns in for a touchdown. So the Buckeyes tied up at 17. First play of the next drive. Want to know if Ohio State's ready to answer? How about they turn to one of their junior captains, cornerback Shaun Wade with the first takeaway of the game for the Ohio State defense. It is a really important pick because it puts Ohio State in great field position. Tied at 17 in the fourth quarter, and now they're in the red zone. Shaun Wade, who's been the topic of conversation all offseason, is now an important piece in the opener. You can see Lovie Smith trying to connect there with Peters, who's a bit rattled. And after 3 straight draw plays to Demario McCall, the third one finally goes in the end zone. The Buckeyes take the lead. The question is 24-17 enough? We'll have to find out. This game goes back and forth, and you kind of wonder the last team to have the football might be the one to win. That's a huge broken tackle from Brandon Peters. The Buckeyes, again, struggling on third downs all day. Here's Epstein on a third down. It's 3rd and 6, and by a whisker gets the first. Clock is rolling, 2:43 to go. Now it's 3rd and 8. Peters looking over the middle, and he finds Daniel Barker, the tight end, over the middle of the field for a touchdown. Illinois would add the extra point, and with less than 2 minutes to go, the Fighting Illini have tied the Buckeyes on their home field. What an impressive showing by this Fighting Illini group. But Ohio State was ready to rock. Watch this. Trey Sermon up the left-hand side, first play of the drive. Out of bounds for 13. Justin Fields wouldn't be denied. Next play, first reception of the game for the freshman star wideout Julian Fleming. He goes 12 yards over midfield. Fields back to the aerial attack. Right side, it's Garrett Wilson this time for 15. The Buckeyes are in business until Calvin Avery comes up with a big sack, and now the clock is not Ohio State's friend. After 2 failed screen passes, 4th and 17, look at this unbelievable catch from Jamison Williams. Full extension, less than a minute to go, and perhaps an early season upset that Ohio State wouldn't have seen coming on the line, and an unreal execution up the right side puts the Buckeyes in a great spot. Now they can essentially control the clock and try to line up to at least kick a game-winning field goal attempt. Blake Hobbiel from just 23 yards away, right down the pipe. And Ohio State with a 27-24 lead over Illinois, but you'll see there's still 3 seconds left. And it's enough to make you feel a bit uneasy because on the final play of the game, Peters unleashes the longest completion of the entire day. Kamari Thompson, 46 yards. He took the top off the defense, but he couldn't keep his feet because the ball was thrown a little too far. And Illinois cannot pull off the upset. Unbelievable by the Buckeyes in our virtual week 1. They certainly got a bit of a scare from Fighting Illini, but they come away with a 27-24 victory. Here's some final numbers for you. Fields, terrific. 22 for 26, 241 yards and a touchdown. He also threw a meaningless pick on a Hail Mary play in the final play of the first half, but no worries there. Buckeyes great on the ground. Trey Sermon, 13 carries for 53 yards. Fields ran it 11 times for 43. Demario McCall had those couple of rushing touchdowns. Sermon also the leading receiver for Ohio State, 7 catches for 55 yards. McCall, 4 catches, 45 yards. Garrett Wilson, 3 catches for 43. Perhaps notably missing from this part of the box score, Chris Olave. He wasn't targeted once all game, but he did have a couple punt returns. Ronnie Hickman led the defense with 7 tackles. On the Illini side, senior quarterback Brandon Peters, 24 of 36 for 256 yards, a couple touchdowns, but of course that really costly late interception. He also ran it 11 times for 62 yards. Mike Epstein, 6 carries, 42 yards and a score. Epstein and wideout Trayvon Sidney combined for 6 catches and 88 yards with a touchdown. Derek Smith led the Illini defensively, 10 tackles. Illinois 10 of 14 on third downs. So a 27-24 victory for the Buckeyes. I don't think many people saw that coming in week 1 in our virtual simulation against Illinois, but that wraps up our week 1 coverage. Buckeyes will have their home opener next Saturday. We'll have Rutgers coming to the Horseshoe. And if you're interested in watching the entire simulated game that was just played here, it's available on demand right now, BuckeyesNow.com. We hope you'll join us again next Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Time for Ohio State and Rutgers. For Buckeyes Now on SI, I'm Brendan Gulick. See you next time.